while since I've actually done a tutorial for Grand Theft Auto regarding my super mega trainer. And I've just been busy with a lot of things in general. I know some of you have been looking forward to more series and have responded back with some questions about things that you wanted to do and accomplish and stuff like that. So anyways, what I'm going to be doing this time is I'm going to go over, actually I don't even know if I even have it up here. I'm going to show how to what's called ApplyForceToVehicle in the game. So whenever you see the video you just saw, it demonstrated and showed that Niko is able to throw cars pretty much like all over the place. And in this series, it's going to actually show you exactly how that's being done. As soon as I can get there here. Preparation. I was having a lot of trouble getting my mic set up here. I think it's right here. Here we go. I already had it. So this is actually a function in C++, but actually in object-oriented it's actually known as something called a method. Basically, whenever you see something like this, this is a method. Whenever you see something in general that has more than one thing in it, I don't know if I could even show it right here. It's called an overloaded method. Basically, whenever it has other stuff inside of this little thing right here, like you might have a value or something, that's an overloaded method. So this is just a method that I'm going to be explaining for car ApplyForceToVehicle. And any of you who's been watching already may even understand that the first part here is actually the object. It's setting the object of the vehicle, and I just named it car. You can call it anything you want, but it's just this vehicle native is tracked actually in the game. And this is another one that's actually tracked in the game, which is called object, and I just named that one pObj. And then these are the floating point values for the x, y, z, which are the three-dimensional coordinates of the player. It's like a 3D mapping of the player, basically, is how physics is actually used in the game. And this is the same thing, except this is actually used down here. Actually, it's used in a couple places. It's used right here. And it's also used right here in the get angle between 2D vectors, which I'll go over in a minute. So it's basically setting up an X and a Y and a Z for those coordinates too. And then on the end here, it's a dir or direction, which I'll get to that in a minute. And these are just the initialization variables and everything I'm going over right now. The next thing down here, you're seeing ped mePlayer. And I explained this earlier. This is actually representing Niko in the game. And this is the object, and this is the variable of the object. You can call this mePlayer anything you want. In general, I just called it mePlayer. Actually, somebody else had named it that before, and I just kept the name. This one is, it's kind of the same thing. I probably didn't even need this variable. This may have been a test variable or something I was using before. I noticed this closeped is not even being used down in here, so probably just something I had from before, some other testing and stuff I was doing, so disregard that. And then there's GetCharCoordinates. Anytime you're tracking your player in the game, you always want to use GetCharCoordinates. And again, you see the mePlayer putting into representing Niko here and his coordinates. If you don't use this a lot of times, you'll get a lot of errors when you're trying to compile the actual program or the script. The next one here allows scenario peds to be returned by next command set to true. I didn't really explain this in the video, but basically this is resetting the peds on the screen. It's probably more used in the ped method than it would be used in the ApplyingForceToVehicle method. But I had somebody else say that you should use it anyway, so I just put it in there. And this is a wait. If you don't put the wait in, you can end up sometimes crashing the game a lot because it's running so fast. This is actually a variable set for GetClosestCar. And I explained this earlier to kind of go over this for you. If you look here, X, Y, Z, of course, remember these are always the coordinates of your player. Unless you're specifying otherwise, you can just pretty much track them right here. And you can see the last thing that they were initialized here was by the GetCharCoordinate, which is Niko. So it's basically tracking him. And this is a radius. I noticed as I was playing with this value, you can actually change this, and you could even do stuff like 70 or 100. And basically, it's going to start picking up the areas around your player, and it kind of is pretty interesting because it scans around. So I don't totally understand it all the way, but it seems to scan around the player like in a 3D environment, and it can even branch out. I've had it branching out pretty far sometimes where I can grab things farther away from me. And keep in mind, this is not actually physical grabbing. This is just actually the memory itself looking at a range, or you're trying to look at like a map of the area. And it's a radius of the area. So you can control that in the game also, by the way. I think it's under the it's under one of the game preferences that I have set up in the menu. And then the 1,1, these are just usually defaults. You always want to set, anytime you're using something, you always want to set these to 1, which is true. There's really no actual value that I could even see that it even tells me about. It just says they're unknowns because they haven't really figured out what they are yet. And then if does player exist, the car, so this is again is scanning those cars in the area and making sure that there's a vehicle. If you don't scan it, as I mentioned this before, you'll easily crash the game. Objects are very important. They're a place in memory. If it's not able to find something in that point in memory, it doesn't know where to go, and it's just going to crash the game. So here's what you would want to do is you want to scan for the first car. So when I'm getting ready to push that car away, I'm looking at the car coordinates so I know which car am I closest to. And obviously this is the CX, CY, C0, CZ variable I set up earlier. And these are set up differently than the XY because these are representing the vehicle while this is representing the player. But later this is also representing the car, and I'll show you that in a minute. And get angle between 2D vectors. This is a 2D environment, so it's basically scanning within 2D coordinates. This is pretty helpful for getting a pretty good accurate scan of the area. Have you seen this in other programs from other people that have showed me, and it's pretty effective and stuff like that. And this is the direction. This is kind of cool. This will actually tell you, like I was telling you earlier, what direction the car is facing in. And actually even later, if you look down here where it says set car heading, this is picking up the car again. Remote car direction. I called this remote car direction because I had another mod in my program here that actually sends a car flying in any direction. Basically, you can control the direction from north, south, east, west, and it'll move in that direction. So here, I just set it, and if you modify it and you change it, you can get the cars to move in different directions. Although, because they're still moving so randomly, it's sometimes hard to see that. But I just thought it would be helpful to provide more controls in the game. The get car forward speed. This one's pretty awesome. A lot of people may have seen this in the videos where they show the cars moving very quickly. And you see like the bus is smashing in other cars and it's going super fast. This is exactly what this is doing. And this is again scanning the coordinates. And this is the speed. If you change this thing, it's insane. I've changed it to like 2,000 one time, and it just goes so fast. Sometimes it'll just like flip you out, and suddenly you're on another island because it's moving so fast. So you want to keep that within specifiable and pretty much accurate ranges to get a good speed of where that you can actually see the vehicle moving in. And this is a freeze car position. I explained this earlier in the video there. It's very important to freeze a car vehicle in the game, otherwise it'll fall through the environment in the earth and fall right through Liberty City. And of course that doesn't put a good effect or anything. You can use this in other things too. I've used it to actually pass through objects and pass through buildings and stuff like that. So it's kind of a cool thing. When you set this one, you can start playing with some values with it. Because if you turn it back on, then it does some pretty interesting stuff. And then the ApplyForceToCar, here's where all the magic is actually happening, or all the work. Basically, it's applying force to the car. Now, this took some time to study and research, but what you want to do is first look at the XYZ coordinates. I know I told you those earlier were the player, and that's exactly it. So it's basically scanning closest to the player. At this point, you're scanning right near where the player is, because you're picking back up here. And now let's see if I didn't... No, I didn't change them in here, so okay. If you anytime you see a get in front of something like this, then you know that that's going to represent the last XYZ position you saw. So at this point it's still representing a character, because here's the last time I used a get for the XYZ coordinates. While here I'm just using CX. That was just so I could manipulate the other natives in the game. And here's the X, Y, and the Z. And you notice these are being added to a variable I call AppFCarX. Y, and car Z, of course. And this is just ApplyForce to car X, ApplyForce to car Y, ApplyForce to car Z. So basically, these can be controlled in the game too. There's actual switches that allow you to change these values, and I believe it's under the vehicle destruction menu or something like that. I think I explained that earlier too. So when you move these and set these at higher values too, you can have the cars spread out farther. I think if you even shrink them, like maybe set a lower value, it does some pretty wild stuff. This is what I really like about playing with variables, is you can really see some pretty crazy stuff going on when you start moving stuff. Like one time I played with the variable and I got one of the motorcycles that I had spawned in the game shooting bullets suddenly because it was, I don't understand exactly what it was doing, but it's altering the variables somehow in the game. It was changing things that probably weren't supposed to be there in the first place. But it's pretty interesting. And then this is if the car is exploding. This is just an actual flag. There's actually called a bulling. If you look here, it says bull customer thread is car exploding. So it's a bull value I set, or on and off value that tells what is the car exploding or not. And you can just flip it on and off. This means it's actually on. And if you put like a little exclamation part, that means it's not exploding. And here's where the car is actually exploding. This is, of course, the native for it. And I probably won't go into a lot of detail on this. For those who want to see it, I can skip over real quick. My videos can be a little bit longer now, so since I've become some kind of special member on YouTube here, and I could show you where that's actually at here. Right here is the native for it. So these are all the parameters and stuff you want to make sure. Of course, it's got to be vehicle. If you see vehicle, you don't want to put vehicle. You just want to use the vehicle because that's the object of the vehicle. And then this is the true value. This is the one I'm just now altering. So this B8, B is the bullying, and 8s are just the numbers that they set for it. And then we'll set that to true. And the next one is also true. So going back here, you can see that's what's going on. And this one is set to 0 right now, because right now we're not exploding the car. Actually, this end value is probably unknown. Yeah, it's an unknown. So they just set it to 0 this time. That was the unknown to be put to 0. I could probably put it to 1, but I don't think it really changes anything. It still works on 0 anyway. And then these are print values. I explained this in one of the earlier tutorials. I think it was in the mod programming tutorial. The print screen with literal string now will actually print that text you see like at the bottom of the game whenever there's actually action going on. At this point, when you get the applying force to vehicle, you'll see it say this: apply force to cars in range, and it'll hold for a delay for 5,500 seconds or whatever that is. I don't know, but it holds it on the screen for a good time basically. This one was something I was trying to test. I was trying to move the objects in the game too. Apparently this one, it still doesn't scan correctly, because even if I try to like put something like get object coordinates in the game or something like that, I usually get a crash or something. For some reason there's some natives that are missing. I'd probably have to research to figure that out. I've seen one guy move like little trash bags around in the game, but other than that, I'm not really using it here. That's why I didn't explain it in the other part, but that's pretty much what you're looking at. Is, remember, it's applying force from where you stand and where you want the cars to move to, what direction you're moving them in. So to kind of go back over this too, these are moving in a forward direction. That's what they're all pluses. If you move this minus, if you actually went back and you turned the car on, you can move it through the earth at this point. That's because the minus is moving it down and the plus is moving it up. And the X and Y, these are on 3D coordinates too, so I don't really have the exact, they really explain it, but it's set up in like a vector basically. It looks like a triangle, so the way it's kind of picking it up there. But that's what you want to keep. That's the main thing right there. That kind of takes care of everything else. This is just if you want to, as you're moving the cars around, you want the cars to start exploding. And you see one of my other trainers or videos I have here. I can probably pull it up here even to show you right now, real quick here. It's called GTA End of the World. I got a lot of hate on this one, but basically what it does is it just shows, like if you watch it here, it'll show everything blowing up like crazy. I wanted to demonstrate this one to kind of show you live, because what this is doing is it's right here, it's moving cars around. This is kind of a different one than the one I've already set up though, but this one, it moves them in all kinds of lateral directions and moves them around real quickly. That one smashed right into me. So eventually they move so fast that sometimes they end up smashing right into your player. And then later, probably let the video go here a little bit. As soon as he hurdles over this building here. Flying method, I probably need to do a tutorial on that one too. People want to learn how to make your player fly. It's kind of a cool thing. Kind of one of the first things I learned is how to make him fly. I was so anxious to get him off the ground. And here you go. See, these are the explosions of the cars happening, but this is actually a different mod in the game. These are actually moving explosions around in the game. But you see the cars here. You'll see in a minute. There's a car moving near. Basically, you'll see the cars moving around, which is ApplyForceToCar. There's a car moving inside of there. Sometimes it gets stuck in buildings and they move around. It's kind of funny. And if they're too close, it doesn't pick them up. Because remember, they're picking up in a radius, and I have the radius set farther out here. And sometimes it does pick them up, though, so it's pretty bizarre. Here you're going to see as he's looking at the direction, all these cars are being applied force, and I have them moving in that direction, because that's how I have the variable set. The one you saw earlier back here. You guys can watch this video because it's already on YouTube on my channel. Done. Pretty close to 18,000 hits here. But that's pretty much how it works, and to give you a visual representation, that's exactly what goes on. And this one does obviously do a little bit more than the other one, but they're very similar. If you watched the other video earlier, you would have seen that it's kind of, they're very close in perspective of what each does. I think this is everybody's favorite part here. And you hear the explosions going off all over the place because wherever my player's moving, it's just exploding cars all over the place. And that's basically what that's doing right there. Explode car, it's exploding around there. And this is obviously the one that's moving the cars around. And actually, to kind of skip ahead here a little bit, I could even show you, if I can find it here, where that other thing is actually happening at. I'm kind of glad my video is a little bit longer. I used to have a span of about 10 minutes, but now I can upload a video with like a half hour. That's kind of cool. I think this is it right here, actually. No, this is the same one, I think. Yeah. Maybe it was ApplyForce or something. I got a lot of ApplyForce going on here, so ApplyForce to pedestrians. This is kind of an extras video. You're getting a little bit more than you might normally get. I'm just going to put apply this time. It might just be apply. There's ApplyForce. I know that one's written all over the place. There's ApplyForceToPed. Some of these other ones, let's see, this one. This is another video I have where it actually smashes the cars. If anybody's ever seen this one, there's a car, it's kind of following you in coordinates here. But now to get off track here, let's see. People are always saying I don't show the code. I think I've shown quite a bit of code. I can't release the entire code to people because there's a lot of stuff in the code that actually I've gotten from other people, and I don't want to break any copyrights or any agreements with them. This is actually, this is my raining cars mod to see where the cars are raining down. This is kind of how this one's done. It's pretty complicated to really kind of explain it now, but you get a sneak peek at it right there. Raining people. That's ApplyForceToPed. Notice these ApplyForces, they're all very similar. Car hydraulics, that's somebody else's. Here's that one of the objects I was telling you about earlier. It kind of moves a trash bag around. I still can't get it to work correctly in mine for some reason. I haven't really played with it enough. Let's see. This might be it right here. Nope, this is the cars moving. This is another video I have where the cars are moving through walls and stuff like that. Actually, I have one. It's called driving on the water or something like that. This is what that one's doing. This might be it. Maybe this is it. Let's see. I think this is my explosion mod. This might be. This is pretty long, whatever this is. Oh no, this is actually down in the main loop. Like at the bottom where all the scripts run real time. Well, maybe I'm not going to find it. ApplyForceObj, that one does not work correctly. This is ApplyForce to the objects. Still can't get those to work right. Not trying to get off track here. I was seeing if I could find the other one. I still know what I'm looking for here. Fire bullet. That actually allows you to fire bullets and send cars flying. There's a ragdoll. Ragdoll is used the same way too. ApplyForceToPed though. I guess must have been another way I did it, but anyways, that was kind of the video of everything. So just please subscribe if you're interested, and just give me any feedback on anything. And I hope you enjoyed this series. Thank you.